what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that women would face as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So if you think about one thing, you mentioned credit, right? Women could not get their own credit card until like the 70s without a husband, son, father, a man to co-write with them. They couldn't get a small business loan until later in the 80s. So it hasn't been that long that women could actually apply for credit or get funding. And even in today's world, if you look at venture capitalists or funding for small businesses, very small percentage comes to women and even smaller to the minority women. So the information that's out there for women and that funding piece of the business is still very tough for us. So we're bootstrapped, raising funds within our communities or families, or starting from scratch and just kind of growing it from there. We're a lot more availability of funds and resources to our male counterparts is available. And the other thing too, we tend to be a little bit more heart-centered, I guess you would say. So charging more is very difficult for us, right? So sometimes creating more profit can be difficult because we don't want to charge more, whereas a male counterpart sometimes will just come in and he'll ask for more and then earn it later. Whereas me, I'm going to earn it first and then I'm going to ask for more money later. But it's just a different approach, but doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just might take us a little bit more time to create that kind of income and that lifestyle that we want to lead because we just approach things a little bit differently.
I understand that for sure. So you mentioned about the funding and the ability to get funding and how that's still relatively recent for women. Now, this is a show about entrepreneurship, but we always have that twist of business acquisitions. Wouldn't you say that that's a perfect opportunity for women to look at acquisitions, acquiring a cash flowing business? So you don't have to worry about that bootstrap startup thing, trying to get funding in it, or VC trying to come in and get that funding and having the disparity between women and men. If you acquire a cash flowing business, you start off with a head start. Now, mind you, I'm sure that there's going to be potential challenges in getting some of the acquisition funding for women as well.
That's what do you think? The education piece of that, right? Because not many people know about creative financing and how you can buy a business with no money down. You need to create a win-win for you and the seller, right? And so my last set of businesses, I owned an insurance company and I bought my insurance company and then I added to it by acquisition because that was the quickest way for me to grow that book of insurance policies was through acquisitions. Florida's in a very tough market and has been for the past couple of years. That's a buying opportunity, right? When there's just stress in the market, that's a buying opportunity. So people were wanting to get out of the insurance industry. That's where I'm going to come in and do a creative financing deal, split the profits in the future with them, which buys them into staying and helping you because the more they feed me, the more they make as well. So you've got to figure out what the win-win is. And until you can, get with someone like yourself and be educated about how to buy a business, how do you finance a business without actual money from your pocket? There's so many different creative ways to do that. But until you just don't know what you don't know.